Good morning, Speaker One. Thanks for meeting me for coffee. It's nice to finally relax after such a long week.
Good morning, Speaker 2. I feel the same way. To be honest, I think I am still recovering from that meeting yesterday afternoon.
The quarterly planning meeting? You can say that again. I went home afterwards and I was so exhausted. I just fell asleep on the sofa.
I know. I felt completely drained of all my energy. I don't think I have ever been in a meeting that was so long. It was a real marathon.
A marathon is the perfect word for it. I kept looking at the clock, and the hands were moving so slowly. It felt like it was never going to end.
So I am not the only one who felt that way.
Not at all. I think everyone in that room was feeling exactly the same. When the meeting finally finished, you could feel a huge sense of relief in the office.
I'm glad we can decompress and talk about it today, outside of the office. I just don't understand why the meeting had to be so long. What time did it start? At 1 o'clock? And it didn't finish until after 5 o'clock. That is 4 hours.
I know. 4 hours is a very long time to sit in one room and try to concentrate. I think the main problem was that the meeting was not very well structured.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we had an agenda, which is a list of topics to discuss, but we didn't really stick to it. We got sidetracked so many times with discussions that were not relevant to the main topics.
That is so true. Our manager, who was the chairperson of the meeting, didn't do a very good job of keeping everyone focused.
I agree. A good chairperson needs to be a bit stricter. They need to politely interrupt people when they go off topic and say something like, "That's an interesting point, but we need to get back to the agenda."
And I think some people in the meeting just like the sound of their own voice. They talk and repeat the same things over and over again.
That is also a big problem in long meetings. It makes everything so inefficient.
It was a very inefficient meeting, but I suppose some parts of it were useful. I just can't remember all the details because my brain was so tired.
Me neither. My notes are a complete mess. Can you remind me what we talked about in the first hour? My mind is a complete blank.
The first hour was actually quite interesting. That was when the head of the sales department gave his presentation on the sales figures from the last quarter.
Ah, yes, the sales figures. I remember now. The news was quite positive, wasn't it?
It was very positive. He said that sales were up by 15% compared to the same quarter last year. He showed us a very clear bar chart.
15% is a fantastic result. Did he say what the main reason was for the good performance?
Yes, he said the main driver was the success of our new product line in Germany. It has been selling much better than we expected.
That is great news. So, the main takeaway from that part of the meeting was that the new product is a big success. That part was definitely useful. Okay, so the first part of the meeting was the positive sales figures. That was a good start. What was the next major topic on the agenda?
After the sales update, it was the marketing department's turn. Maria, the head of marketing, gave a presentation about the new campaign for the upcoming autumn season.
Oh, of course. I remember that now. She showed us the new designs and the main slogan for the campaign. What did you think of them?
I have to be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of the new slogan. It felt a little bit boring and unoriginal to me.
I felt the same way. I thought it was a bit safe. It didn't feel very exciting or memorable.
And the visual design was also a bit disappointing. The colors seemed a bit dark and old-fashioned for a modern campaign.
I agree. I was hoping for something a bit more fresh and innovative. Did anyone give her that feedback in the meeting?
Not really. I think everyone was too tired to start a big debate. Everyone just nodded and said it looked good.
So we had the sales figures, and then the marketing campaign, and then came the part of the meeting where I almost fell asleep.
Let me guess. Was it the 2-hour presentation from the IT department about the new data security protocols?
That was the one. It was so incredibly boring. I am sure the information was important, but the way the presenter delivered it was just so monotonous.
I know. He was just reading directly from his very detailed slides in a very flat voice. My eyes started to close.
It was so hard to stay focused. I admit that I started to daydream. I was thinking about what I was going to have for dinner.
Me too. I was planning my entire weekend in my head. And the topic was so technical. He was using so much jargon and so many acronyms that I didn't understand.
I didn't understand most of it either. That part of the meeting could have been an email. It was not a good use of everyone's time to have a 2-hour presentation on it.
I agree. That IT presentation was a real low point. But after that, at the very end of the meeting, did we discuss the action items for our team? I think I missed some of that part because I was so tired.
Yes, we did. In the last 20 minutes, our manager quickly went through the tasks for our team for the next quarter. I tried to write them down.
Oh, that's great. Could you please share your notes with me? I want to make sure I know what I am responsible for.
Of course. So, the first action item is for me. I am responsible for analyzing the sales data from Germany in more detail and preparing a report. The deadline for that is next Friday.
Okay, a report on the German sales data. That's a clear task. What about my action items?
You are responsible for two things. First, you need to follow up with the marketing department and give our teams detailed feedback on the new campaign ideas.
Right, so I need to share our concerns about the slogan and the design. And what was the second thing?
The second thing is that you need to schedule the initial planning meeting for the Christmas party project. Our team is in charge of it this year. So, those were the main action items for us. I think they are all quite clear.
They are. Thank you for taking good notes. It's hard to do at the end of such a long meeting. One of the reasons the meeting was so long was because of our colleague Peter.
Oh, Peter from the finance department? What did he do?
He just kept interrupting every single speaker with questions that were not really relevant. And his questions were always so incredibly detailed and specific.
Ah, yes, I remember that now. Especially during the marketing presentation.
He kept asking about the exact cost of the font they were using in the logo?
Exactly. It was not the right time or place for that kind of detailed question. He should have just sent Maria an email after the meeting. He wasted at least 30 minutes of everyone's time with his interruptions.
It's a very difficult situation. You don't want to be rude, but someone needs to be able to say, "Peter, that is a very detailed question. Could we please discuss it offline, after the meeting?"
That is exactly what the chairperson should have done, but she was too polite and let him keep talking. I think we have analyzed yesterday's meeting very well. We understand why it was so long and inefficient.
We do, and it has made me think. We have these quarterly planning meetings every 3 months. I really hope the next one is not the same as this one.
Me too. Maybe we could be proactive and suggest some improvements for the next meeting. We could give our manager some polite and constructive feedback.
That is a great idea. What kind of improvements should we suggest?
I think the most important suggestion would be to have a stricter time limit for each agenda item. For example, 20 minutes for the sales update, 30 minutes for the marketing presentation, and so on.
A clear time limit for each topic is a fantastic idea. That would force the presenters to be more concise and focused.
We could also suggest that there is a 10-minute break in the middle of the meeting. A 4-hour meeting without a break is just too much for anyone's brain to handle.
A short coffee break would make a huge difference to everyone's concentration levels. These are excellent suggestions. So, we have a plan to suggest some improvements for the next meeting. I feel much better now that we have talked about everything.
Me too. It's good to get it all off your chest. And, to be fair, even though the meeting was very long and boring in parts, it wasn't a complete waste of time.
That's a very positive way to look at it. What were the good things about it?
Well, for one, it was good to have the whole team together in one room. We all work so hard on our own tasks, so it is nice to see what everyone else is working on and to hear about the company's overall performance.
That is true. It helps you to see the bigger picture. The news about the great sales figures was very motivating. It's nice to know that our hard work is paying off.
It is. And we did actually make some important decisions. We approved the new marketing campaign, even if we don't love it, and we have our action items for the next quarter. So we did achieve the meeting's objectives.
You are right. It just took a very, very long time to get there. You have a very positive perspective on things. Thank you for that. I feel much less negative about the meeting now.
Sometimes you just have to accept that long and boring meetings are a part of office life. You just have to survive them and then move on.
And the most important thing is that the meeting is over now. It is in the past. And now it is Saturday morning. We have the whole weekend ahead of us.
You are so right. I think we have talked about work for long enough. Let's make a rule. No more talking about work for the rest of the weekend. Agreed?
Agreed. It's time to switch off our work brains and switch on our weekend brains.
Exactly. So now that we have finished our coffee, what are your plans for the rest of this beautiful day?
I think I am going to go for a long walk in the park and get some fresh air. I need to clear my head of all those IT security protocols.
That sounds like a perfect plan. This has been a very therapeutic coffee meeting. Much better than the meeting yesterday.